What's up, guys? Welcome to today's video. Hope you guys are having a great day so far. Today's video is going to be a Q&A. I had you guys ask me some questions last week on my Instagram, Nick Palladino Realty. I had a total of 69 questions, and I was only able to get to probably 5 or 6 on my actual Instagram. So I wanted to make another video, YouTube video, hopefully get to another 5 to 10 here. If you guys want to follow me more closely on any of my social medias, Instagram and TikTok are by far where I'm the most active at, specifically Instagram. And if you guys do want to get a hold of me, you guys can always message me on Nick Palladino Realty on Instagram, and I get back to everyone. Without further ado, I'm just going to kind of spitball here. I don't even have the questions that I'm going to answer. First one, hey, do you have multiple IG accounts, or is this your main account and the other one's fake? So I had a Nick Palladino, which was just my name. That's the one where when I lived in Los Angeles, when I lived in Miami. That was my account that I really grew. I think I grew it up at the top, like almost 700,000 followers. That one got deleted, and I just never bothered getting it back because my main focus is my Nick Palladino Realty one. That's where all my business happens. That's where I post more often anyways. So I never bothered to get that back. And yes, if there's any other Instagram accounts that message you besides the one that's linked down below, that is not me, it's fake. How long have you been in real estate? 2019, I bought my first property. What made you start flipping in Arizona and not California? Arizona was just much more affordable. I couldn't afford doing anything in California, and I just saw a lot better cash flow in Arizona. I was like, wow, I can get multiple properties for the same price as one out here. It just makes a little bit more sense for me to buy in Arizona. What's the best advice for a new real estate agent getting started in the industry? Your struggle is going to be, first of all, finding the right team or finding the right brokerage that you're going to work with best. Are you the type of agent that needs leads handed to them, or basically spoon-fed? Are you going to need someone that's going to give you a ton of guidance, or are you going to be more on your own where you can figure stuff out? The route that I took, I was definitely one on a team where I had to figure out a lot of stuff. Like, with that being said, I had a good team lead, but he wasn't the type of person to just funnel us leads and take a percentage of our commission. It was pretty much like, hey, I'll answer any questions that you have, but you're pretty much on your own. You're pretty much on your own getting your own leads. Now, that comes with a higher commission payout, obviously, because they're not doing barely anything for you. Or you can go a route where you're spoon-fed leads, or you just have to call them up. You're spoon-fed listing appointments. You literally just have like 5 appointments a day, but they're going to take quite a bit of your commission. And on top of that, if you're looking for more of a flexible job, a team like that, or a brokerage like somewhere where they're going to have you come in 9 to 5, or have you come into mandatory meetings in the office, or make you come into the office every day. That's great for people if you really want to learn the ropes on everything and actually do this full time. But for me, when I got into it, I always wanted the freedom of being basically doing what I wanted when I wanted, so that wasn't going to work for me. And my mentor at the time had a team as well, so it just made sense for me to go on that. But yes, it's a lot harder if you go on a team where they're not going to help you out a ton or give you free leads, because then you have to generate your own, and that's the hardest part about being a real estate agent. Do you cold call, or what works best as far as finding your deals? So in terms of real estate agent, traditional agent stuff, every single one of my leads comes from social media, like YouTube videos like this. I've gotten a lot of leads at the end of this year from my TikTok. I actually just got a listing appointment, and I just got a buyer that we're actually under contract on the buy side to close next week. Literally from them watching a video, from them messaging me on Instagram, to that same day me showing them a house, to the next day me writing them an offer. Met them once before, talked to them maybe for 5-10 minutes, and we're already under contract on that. So all of my leads come from social media from an agent standpoint. Now, from flipping and investing, a lot of them come from wholesalers. Just over the years since I started in 2019 building relationships up with wholesalers, they send us deals. I'm on email lists where we get 5 or 10 deals, off-market deals a day. Oftentimes, there's not a lot of margin in those. You just have to kind of sift through them. I also have really, really good connections with like one-off wholesalers where they don't do a ton of volume. They're not a big company, but when they do get deals, they have really good margin. And for me, keeping those relationships with those wholesalers is so, so important, because they do all the front work on marketing direct to seller, and then they just tack on a price and sell it to us. And that's where we get majority of our leads from. Sometimes we'll get pocket listings from previous agents we've worked with. Sometimes we'll get leads from social media media on, hey, my friend's selling their house, or hey, my neighbor's selling their house, like they want an offer on it. We had that happen a lot back in 21, but it slowed down a little bit for social media in terms of people messaging me or Ricky on Instagram. Maybe because we just haven't been pressing it as hard the last year and a half, so that's something we want to get back into. Did you save up a lot of money modeling, or how did you get your startup for real estate? So yes, I saved up, not even just from modeling. I was doing bartending, serving jobs. I was doing a little bit on social media too, like paid promotions on my Instagram when I had that bigger account. I was modeling. I was doing my online coaching, personal training, which was a good source of my income. I was just hustling from basically 21 years old to 26 years old. I was living in Miami and Los Angeles, just doing whatever I could to make money. And then I saved up absolutely everything. I didn't spend any money besides the necessities on food and rent. Didn't really go to fancy dinners, nothing like that. Never really drank too much. I never went out and bought drinks. And that's what allowed me to not only qualify for my first property, because I had that consistent income. It wasn't necessarily like I was making a ton of money. I was doing all right in my early 20s for sure. But it was more so like me saving all that money, knowing that at one point I want to invest into something that was a little bit more stable. And that's what allowed me to buy my first property. I think I qualified for like 270, ended up buying it for 200,000, 20% down, had to put like 48,000 down. And then 6 months later, very similar situation, put another 50 or 60 down on the next property. But that was just from like 6-7 years of just saving up. So it's not as hard as you guys think. Now it is a little bit more difficult with the way rates are, but rates are dropping, so it could be something you can look into. More so saving rather than me earning a ton of money, I would say, at that age. What made you choose single family homes over multifamily? That's just what my mentor was doing at the time. There's not a lot of multifamilies out here in like the Gilbert area. If they are multifamilies, they're 20, 30, 40, 50 unit complexes, which just doesn't make sense for me right now. I can't jump into something like that. And I've just had good success with single family properties. I never really ventured off into multifamilies. I never really felt the desire to at this moment. Who knows, maybe down the road. But right now, single family townhomes, 1 units are what's working for me. Did I go to college? No, I didn't go to college. I think I tried like 3 months at a community college in Oregon when I was living there, and I just wasn't learning anything. I wasn't doing anything. How tall are you? I'm 6'2", or like 185 centimeters, 187 centimeters. How much do you realistically need to succeed in this kind of business? So I think you're referring to flipping. And this is something I wanted to touch on. This will probably be the last question. So I get this question like a ton. And first of all, a disclaimer, if you guys are looking to get into real estate, I personally always suggest like buy a rental property. That should be buy a rental or your own personal home. And then down the road, make sure the home you want to buy is you can rent it and cash flow on it. If you're trying to make an investment property, don't go buy an expensive house and never cash flow on it, where your only exit strategy is selling it. I would just get into a nice little entry-level home, live in it for a year, rent it out, or just buy a rental property if you have that 20% available. But a lot of people want to start flipping because that's what they see all the time on social media, not just on my account, but just all over socials, like the flipping game. And it makes a ton of money, but it's a lot riskier as well. So they asked, how much money do you realistically need to be successful? I have one specific client. I'm going to use this as an example. I've worked with him for about 8 months now, and he doesn't use any of his own money. Never has for the 6 or 7 deals that I've worked with him so far. He gets a hard money loan, which is very common. I get hard money loans. Everyone in flipping usually gets hard money loans unless they have a ton of just money laying around or private financing. But hard money loans, basically, they're going to give you the loan for the majority of the house. Some will give you 100% of the purchase price. Other hard money lenders will give you 70, 80, 90%, depending if you have a rapport with them, a good relationship with them. Some of them will even fund 100% and give you the renovation budget. It really just depends. But most of the time, for this example, for my guy, he gets about 90% loan to value ratio, meaning he'll get about 90% of the purchase price of the property, or right around there. And then he has to come up with the 10% additional down payment to close on that property. And then he also has to come up with the funds to renovate it, which oftentimes is usually around 30,000, 25 to 35,000 for the properties he does. So for example, we just closed on one that was $200,000 last week with him. He got lending for $180,000 of it, so he needed $20,000 to close the gap, and he also needed another $20,000 for the renovation, which means $40,000 is required to finish up this entire project. He found someone to bridge that gap. He found someone. I don't know what his profit share is. Sometimes he'll just pay an interest rate. Sometimes he'll do a profit split, where he's like, hey, I need $40,000. This is the guaranteed, or this is the return I'll give you, or this is the expected profit I'll make that I'll split with you, or this is the interest rate I'm willing to offer on your money. Whatever it may be, he got $40,000 from another private investor to bridge that gap. He doesn't have any money involved. He's just responsible for overseeing the project, and then he gets paid out a profit. Now, if you do that, obviously your profit's going to be less because you have more people you have to share with, or you have more of interest rate costs on your hard money, and then you have a second loan as well from someone else if you're doing interest rates. But if you can find someone that will bridge that loan, awesome. You don't have to have any of your own money, and he's been fairly successful with none of his own money involved. A little bit of an easier way would be getting a hard money lender and then you coming up with your own $40,000. That way it's just you and then one other loan. But that obviously requires renovation and probably about 10% of the purchase price of the property. So if you're going to try to do this on your own with no bridge loan, I always say, depending on the market, $50,000 to $60,000 of your own money you'll need to flip a property. Comes with a lot of risk though. Things can go wrong. The market can change. There's so many things with flipping that you have to be really, really experienced, or at least have someone that can guide you through the process. So like, for example, I help this guy buy properties. I'm the listing agent for his properties, and I'll help him go through the entire process. So it makes it a little bit easier for him. But if you're going into a market with absolutely no knowledge, definitely have someone on your side that knows what they're doing. But that's it, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Any video suggestions you guys want to see, like, comment down below. I'm going to start filming more content in 24, and I do appreciate the help if you guys can give me any ideas. So follow me on Instagram, follow me on TikTok down there, guys. Message me if you guys are interested in an agent, whether you're trying to buy a house or sell your house in Arizona. I'd love to help you invest, especially with interest rates coming down right now. I think we'll see a good little 3 or 4 months, a good buying time with rates being decent before the market starts to pick up again, and who knows what it'll be at the end of 24 and so on. So yeah, I love to work with you guys. I'll see you soon.